excited to introduce you guys some of the cast members from the feature film 2050. Here with me today, I have Riquinha, Shannon Holt, and Stefanie Bloom. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. This is truly an honor. Truly an honor. So I just went to the first official premiere of their film on Valentine's Day, and it was so cool to be there and see them live in their Q&A and work in the red carpet, especially this one over here loves the red carpet, and just seeing them in their element and just experiencing the movie with them at the premiere. So thank you again for the invitation for that. That was such a special treat.
What are you looking for?
Hi, Michael. I'm Sophia.
No, I know you're not real.
Because if you're real, then I'm cheating on my wife.
How could falling in love be a bad thing? You make someone smile. That is your potential.
So who is she? The woman you're seeing.
You're letting me win.
So the first thing I like to do is just go around, and we'll start ladies first over here. Just introduce yourself, tell them who you play in the film, and a little bit about your character.
Okay, I'm Stefanie Bloom. I play Sophia, and I am created by Michael, who is played by David Vaughn, and I play one of the robots, the androids, a sex bot.
Ooh, yeah, the sex bot over here.
It's a very sexy film, and
you look very sexy.
Yes, she does.
well, I tried to live up to the part that the director Princeton Holt had hired me to be, but I think my character is there's meaning behind her. I think you sometimes forget that she's a robot, and you're like, are these two characters falling in love?
I don't know. You made her seem like a real robot. Like she was awesome. You were so on point with like really being able to act in a way that made you seem like a robot. It was really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
But yeah, you're right. He definitely was falling for you. So I'm gonna leave my wife. I mean, who needs a real wife and all the drama when I could just have this sex fun over here?
Yes, there's a lot of conversation to be had about this movie, and I think that's the awesome part of it. Is like what if you just explore that area? You open your mind. It's very thought provoking. Is what Sweet Film is about.
Definitely.
And what about you?
So my name is Shannon Holt, and I play Rain Regan in the film. My character is the business partner of the lead character, Michael Green. And I'm kind of, I don't know, I have an interesting character.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit quirky. I'm definitely, very bright and business-oriented, but very, very relaxed and laid back. But at the same time, maybe a little bit judgmental, and
I had a harder time pinpointing exactly the overall vibe of your character.
Yeah, there were some scenes I think that were missing, but the vibe is just kind of kind of a modern millennial business person.
You were pretty fierce and
kind of
hardcore.
hipster. Yeah, not very feeling, not too many feelings there. I try to tap into them, but they're not really there. I'm just kind of.
Yeah.
She does have to work on her Jenga skills a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I love that kid.
I sucked.
If you want to see her playing Jenga in the film, go see 2050.
Right. That's the main draw of the film.
But
Right,
really, you want to go see the sex bot and all the other sex bots they have in there.
Nope, no
In fact,
fun.
I'm surprised your brothers didn't talk you into being one of the sex bots.
Are you kidding me? He would throw up the entire film at the thought of me being sexy in any way.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he'd be so disgusted.
All right, let's let Chris get a moment over here.
Fantastic. So my name is Chris Riquinha. I play David in the film, and David is the best friend of Drew, who is also one of the leads. David's a fun guy. Okay? Gets a little bit of a bad rap, I'll say. He made some money early on, and he's just kind of enjoying himself, right? So, just kind of sits around, plays video games a lot, eats a lot of junk food. And he's he's a bit sarcastic, but he's a good guy at heart. He just maybe doesn't know how to show it properly, but he's a good guy at heart. He cares about his best friend, and he's a bit of the comic relief in the film, if you will. He likes to have a good time and poke at his buddy Drew pretty much every opportunity he gets. So.
Yeah.
He had us laughing.
Aw.
I mean, he definitely brought the comedy to
Definitely.
2050.
You know, I think that your role actually suited you really well.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it was like I think it must have been a very like, breezy personality for you to play.
I am not necessarily that person all the time. I have it in me, of course. We all have different characters in us, but I grew up with a couple of guys that are like right there, so I was able to kind of recall back to those guys a little bit. So it was fun. It was fun to explore something a little different.
Yeah. So, just so the audience can better understand the little moment we had before, so her brother produced this film. How awesome is that, you know? So it's really, I'm sure it's so close to heart with you.
It
so,
is.
I mean, why don't you shout out your brother real quick?
Shout out to my brother, Princeton Holt.
Yes,
He's one of the
Princeton.
hardest working people I know. I'm just so proud to be
by
kin
his
to him
side, yeah.
and for him to have allowed me to work with him. You know, just feel great about that.
Yeah.
He was our biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never
I
worked
could
with
tell
a
that.
director that
Yeah.
just, you know, if you said your lines and you did your scene, he was like, he pulled you aside and he was
Yeah.
like, yes,
Yes.
I felt that. I felt that. I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
It
And
means so much. I feel like
it
as
does.
an actor, it must make you perform better.
It
You
does.
know?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the thing about Princeton. I mentioned at the Q&A. He's such a fan of actors and what they do, and such a fan of performances and that sort of thing, that
Yeah.
he's genuinely involved. He's not just there to kind of get the shots. He's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in the moment. Like, you know, there were times as soon as he yelled cut, he would burst into laughter.
Yeah.
Like he's all in there. And you know, obviously, if he's not getting what he wants, he's very good at communicating what he wants to get from him. He's good with direction, that sort of thing. But just to be able to work with somebody who like genuinely cares that much, it's just awesome. It's just a great experience, honestly. Yeah.
It really is.
Well, I hope to meet him sometime. I mean,
Yeah.
I heard him briefly at the Q&A,
Yeah.
but yeah, he definitely seems like a really, really, really cool guy to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right.
So I know that you guys all have had a pretty long journey to get here where you are today, to be in this awesome film. And I know a lot of you have, you know, a lot of other projects that you've been involved with. I'd love to just touch base on that briefly, kind of like how you got to where you are today leading up to this film and some of the other highlights of your career. You want to start, Steph?
Yeah, sure. You know, I just remember before I auditioned for Princeton, I've done a lot of short films, commercials, print work. Everything's New York based. I mean, you get sent out on these occasional things and you're like, wow, is this going to take off? And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I saw your IMDb. You had a ton of stuff on there.
Well, I feel like in New York is like, it's the acting, modeling, it's the capital. It's like, I mean, I know you can go to LA, you can go anywhere else, but I just feel like if you make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Are you a SAG member?
I am a SAG member.
All of you?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have narrowly escaped being SAG. I'm probably a must join.
Actually, yeah, I think that's actually, you know what, you're right. I think that's where I'm at this point as well. Yeah.
I've been SAG eligible for like 10, 11, 12 years
What
right
do you do?
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I joined the union, but that was off of commercials. I feel like, yeah, that must join, that pops
Yeah,
up
yeah.
on you,
It
and
does.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll join.
Right.
But yeah, and I feel like that also opened the doors for me to 2050, because I mean,
Was it a SAG film? 2050?
That's a good
that's
question
a good
because there
question.
were both non.
I think yes
Right.
and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah. There were both union and non-union people working on.
okay.
Princeton's
So
going to see this and be like, what kind of
We don't
answer is
know.
that?
I
You guys-
know.
How do you guys not know this?
I don't know at all.
That's okay.
No clue.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe you can hire both under
Yeah.
some sort
Yeah,
of
there's-
contract, but yeah.
Waivers
So
and
did
that.
you have any, you know, struggles getting up to this point? Like what were some of, you know, some key highlights of in your career?
You know, I feel like for every yes, there's like 10 no's. And
That's
I could,
actually a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
I thought it was more
honestly-
like, you know, 1 to 50 when it comes to
She's
auditions.
doing well. She's doing well.
Yeah, that's you're ahead of the curve right there, girl.
Well, I just feel like sometimes you walk into an audition and you feel like, wow, I nailed that. Like, when's my callback coming? And I'm like,
And you know,
okay, I hear crickets. But,
Yeah.
you know, and I just remember I auditioned for this and I was like, no, I'm like, I'm going to be Sophia. I'm like, this
Yeah,
is amazing.
felt
And
it.
I think
For
he
me,
felt
yes.
it. Yeah,
I was made to be a sex spy. I was just born too early.
I think what it was is that you see this role and you're like, wow, this is super sexy. I'm into that. I'm loving it. But it was like Sophia was dominant. Like she was.
Yeah.
Usually you don't see that in films. You always see the guy being the dominant one, or you know, like.
You
And
could
I
tell she enjoyed that kind of playing
I
that
did.
role.
I was
And
rolling
I'm sure
around
your
with. Oh my god.
husband enjoyed that too. I saw her husband at the premiere, guys. Watching him watch her in the audience was almost just as good as watching the movie
I
itself.
really think I might have almost broke 3 of his fingers. I was holding his hand so hard. I was like.
Aww.
And then and in the beginning of the premiere, as the movie went on, I was like,
But that takes a confident man to be able to handle his
Yeah.
woman playing a
That's
sex
true.
spot in a feature film like that and
Definitely.
watching everybody watch her on camera, you know?
Definitely.
Your husband's a good man.
Yeah,
definitely.
Shout out to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah, he'll love that little shout out. You know, I may or may not. I mean, if as a working actor in New York, I mean, everybody's done those Discovery shows, and they're just very, you know, I'm like, this can be on regular cable TV. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like I'm being typecast, but you know,
There you go.
yeah, David's not the first night.
And Shannon, I know that you have dabbled in the music industry, the modeling industry. You've been on runway shows. I mean, your career. I part of the vibe that I got was maybe even acting isn't even your predominant thing right now.
It's not my thing, actually, at all, I would probably say. I mean, I definitely, my family had me in drama and acting groups when I was from 5th grade on. So it's been part of who I am for a long time, but I just respect the craft so much that I knew that there were other things I wanted to do with my life.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your come up?
Great, I gotta follow Miss Clinique over here.
Oh, God.
Well, you know, I have to say, because I was listening to some of like your voiceover type work, his voice, right?
His voice is
voice
awesome.
is just like perfect.
It
You were
is.
born with this gift voice that's
take
just
that.
like.
You have, like, that radio
I bet
voice.
you've done a lot
Yeah.
of voiceover.
I've done
stuff.
some voiceover stuff. I've done some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually kind of gotten away from it for a bit, and I'm looking to get back into it immediately
Mm-hmm.
because it's actually really enjoyable for me. I've always really enjoyed it. Even I kind of started doing it with doing some ADR for films when you have to kind of re-record the audio for the films because the sound wasn't good. And I've worked with other actors who despise the process. I always found it really interesting. So then I started to pursue a little more voice and started to book some stuff, and it's fun. That's
Nice.
a fun. That's a
What
fun
were
job.
some of like your highlight projects?
The funniest one I'll bring up is I don't do impersonations or anything like that. I submitted for this Budweiser campaign. They were kind of they were making a joke about celebrities reading bad tweets about themselves or something like that.
I love that.
So
I think I've
so
heard of that.
you know I submitted for like the brewer because it's like a random person. I can do that. And there was all these other stars. So they called me in to read for the brewer, and they're like, we want to have you read all these other ones as well.
Oh my gosh.
What? I'm looking at this like I can't do Jimmy Kimmel, you know? Like,
Oh my God.
So I went in there. I did
like
the best
on the
I could.
spot
R-
too, without even having
yeah.
time.
Well, no,
to,
no,
like,
I had some time.
practice
I had
that.
some time.
But
I
it
had-
was all the day of. Though,
No,
right?
no, I
Oh,
got the
okay.
email a few days before, so I had some time to do a little bit of work. And ironically enough, I wound up booking the Mark Wahlberg impersonation. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even.
All right,
from
we gotta
Boston.
hear this
I
right
know.
now.
It was-
Do
Yeah,
it
exactly.
for us. Do it for us.
It's been years. Let me
Come
see.
on,
So
Chris.
it's just a one-line tweet, and it was
Okay.
something like, "I drink blood, but I'm not a huge douche," and that was it. And like when I got
That
the
was
email
good.
that
That
said
was good.
that's the one they wanted, I was like,
That's so
Really?
funny.
I had a lot of family up in Rhode Island, so I spent a lot of time up there. So I guess I was a little familiar with it, but like I don't do the accent. So I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that was
Really
fun. That was fun to do. But most of this, I was mainly an actor though, like on camera actor. Just wrap it up real quick. I met Princeton. I was in an actor showcase actually years ago, back in probably 2007, 2008. He was there to see a buddy of his. He approached me afterwards about a film that he was producing actually, and that's kind of how I got involved with. Also, and his name hasn't come up, with Brian Ackley. Brian Ackley is the writer of 2050. He was the director of Uptown, which is the first film I worked with them on. And since then, we've just worked on a bunch of projects together, Cookies and Cream, and all sorts of fun stuff.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, very cool. And
Yeah.
what would you say is the best project that you've done so far?
It's 2050.
20. Oh, good answer. Good answer.
sure.
No, in all honesty, I mean, this has been like, you know, you do a project and you might feel good about it, but once you work on enough, you don't necessarily have the expectations of what's going to happen, because most things don't necessarily become anything.
Yeah.
So, like, I know Princeton knows what he's doing. He's got as well as being great behind the camera, he's got a fantastic business mind. So I knew we would get into some festivals. I knew it'd get out there, it'd get seen. I didn't expect all this. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The screenings that we have coming up, like, so we had our big premiere in New York, which was an amazing night. And once again, thank you for coming. This is super cool.
On
And that was,
Valentine's
and
Day. I brought my boo and everything.
So that was amazing. But now we've got these 1 week long runs at AMC theaters across the country. Like, none of us really expect that. It's fantastic. So, yeah. 2050 is, without question,
Yes.
biggest project I've been
You know,
involved
I want to know what it was like for you guys being at the premiere, watching the film, and just kind of seeing the audience react to it, and just like, what does it feel being in the audience, seeing yourself, you know, on camera at that premiere?
I never had a problem watching myself, I'll be honest. There's a lot of actors who, well, as long as I'm happy with the work that I did, there are times when I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But no, there are some actors who refuse to watch themselves. I enjoy it, especially in an environment like that. Like, that location was fantastic. The screen was beautiful. The sound was amazing.
I guess I was just wondering, like, you know, do you feel nervous? Do you guys feel like, oh, are they gonna like it? Oh, do I look? Do I like that angle looks on me, or just like all like stupid things?
Everything
you know,
you just said,
all of the
above.
above.
All of the above,
All of the
exactly.
above, and then add the nakedness to it. I was like,
wait, but you didn't actually really have like a naked gun.
She was naked.
But hers was,
it was dark.
very tastefully done.
It was dark, but she was naked.
oh, I remember on set. I was
You were
very
actually,
naked.
saw it.
so you had to film fully naked though, even though they, you know, showed it in a
mean,
nice way.
It was beyond professional. I
Yeah.
mean, like when I had to do those scenes with David, it was very like skeleton crew, very
Was
very
that your
very
first
professional.
nude scene ever? Shooting? You did it before. You're pro.
I mean, nudity doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah.
It's just
I could tell you looked
it's just
very confident
watching
on
it
camera.
bothers me. I'd rather watch anybody else nude, not myself.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I've done that. Okay, fine. You guys watch, have fun. But
So it wasn't that hard for you then?
no, I don't find
shooting.
Yeah, and especially
Take us
especially
to
with somebody
that
with
scene.
David, I mean-
Take us to that scene.
Nice.
Bring us to that scene that day at that shoot, and what was that like? Take us through it.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Was her brother like,
we've had
do
a
it
few.
again,
We've
do
had-
it again, do it again?
I'm going to tell you a really funny story. I actually, I filmed those scenes with David and Princeton and Jared. The DP was in there, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
And but I think the really funny part was that this, for me, I know they've been on board for longer, but for me, this was filmed over 2 years, and during those 2 years, I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And I remember that day when I was with Shannon, she had some stuff to do that
And
day
that didn't
too.
fit in the sex spot role, did it?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a big
Sequel.
ass
Sex
pillow
spots don't
over my
get pregnant.
stomach.
So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She had to
I
tell
was-
me.
I
I would have never known.
I was
Really
full
well.
on, full
Yeah.
on making out with him, and I was 6 months pregnant. I was like, let's
That
do
was
that.
really well because the audience did not have a clue.
No, definitely not.
I mean, to
funny.
me, I definitely noticed that 20-pound drop in my face. I was like, wow.
You're the only one.
I was like, oh my god.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I mean, other than rolling around in the sheets with him, I mean, I'd do that any day. He's awesome. He's so awesome.
How about me
Moving
that one?
moving on to Shannon.
But like, he played the role. He was also the producer. I mean, he was great. He not only acted in it, but he was, as soon as they yelled cut, he was like, okay. And then he was,
Super-
worrying
he was
about
all over
Crafty.
the
Like,
place,
everybody
yeah.
just took like it was like a team effort.
It was.
Yeah.
It really, really was.
Even Shannon, she's like, let me fix you what you're wearing, well, lack thereof. Or
That's really sweet. You know, Shannon, I'm curious. Since your brother's the producer, did you still have to audition for him?
Fantastic.
Ooh,
Oh boy.
question.
It's gonna sound like nepotism, but it's not. No, I did not have to audition for this role because actually the initial character was actually written about me a little bit. It was based on who I was as a person already. So he was like, so I've got this film in the movie and it's kind of you. So, I want you to play it. And I was like, okay, cool. So it was like, just be yourself.
Nice.
So that was the original character, of
Yeah.
course. So So I guess
Awesome.
even though the script changed and things like that, I still
Yeah.
got to hang on.
Good. So
There you
you
go.
kind of
So a
like
couple
made
of
that role
scenes.
for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
cool, I didn't know
Awesome. What was your audition process like?
Trying to think if like I said, I've worked with Princeton for quite some time. I did. I'm trying to remember if I auditioned for this specific role. I've auditioned for Princeton a bunch of times.
Did he say like, "Oh, you got the role," like
I
right
don't
on the
know.
spot,
Why
or
did
did
you
you have to
audition
go
for
in for
him a couple
multiple callbacks?
I don't remember if I had to audition for this role in particular. I think it was kind of a similar
No,
thing. He
there's
was
no
like,
way.
"Yo, you got to play this role." I think it was kind of something like that. And I read it and I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah. Auditions more than once, right?
Yeah, you might be right. No, I've auditioned a couple times for Princeton. Different
After you've worked
roles.
with him?
Yeah, for different roles on different films. And I've also been in the room to read with other people that we were auditioning
Yeah, he did.
as well.
He really
But
doesn't.
this one, I don't think I had to audition for this particular
Well,
role.
the thing we are running out of time, so I do want to make sure that we leave the audience with a little bit of just kind of each of your individual advice, what you've learned throughout your career. If there's anything that you want to say to aspiring actors, aspiring DJs, models, musicians, and whatnot, you know, and aspiring actors and voiceover artists, if there's anything that you think are like the key takeaways that you kind of maybe like, oh, if I knew this back then,
Yeah.
it would have helped me and saved me all this time, blah, 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 like those
Yes.
kind of things.
Yeah.
If you just want to go around and
Sure.
let the audience know.
You starting?
Yeah, for me, I think that one, persistence. I mean, I'm a mom of 3. You know, you don't have to, you know, sacrifice
You
one
can
for the
have
other.
it all,
Right.
yeah.
Or at least try to with a really good support system. But
Yeah.
you know, and I think that, you know, the acting world is small. Even though it seems really big, you will run into the same people. So my advice is that, you
Be
know,
nice to everybody.
be nice to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Whether
Oh,
you're
yeah,
a background one day and you're the star the next, you know,
Stay humble.
you're gonna stay humble, and you're gonna run into these people over and over again.
Yeah.
And I would love to run into you guys again as well.
Likewise.
You know, so
Oh my
I
God.
just think that's the best advice.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah. So mine would be piggybacking off of both what both you guys said, and that's don't burn any bridges. You know, you never know. Don't be emotional in business. Business is business. Don't take things personally. It's business. And then the other thing that you were saying before, once you get to a certain level of knowing that you're good at what you do, don't take less than what you're worth. It wasn't until I used to run out of the house for $100 jobs. And it wasn't until I stopped doing that I realized, you know, you're attracting cheap things to you. So, you know, the $5,000 jobs, I stopped getting those. Once I started going after those $100 jobs, that's all that was coming to me. So then I realized I'd rather stay home and watch TV and relax than go out of the house for less than what I'm worth. And so that's one of the biggest things I learned.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
all right. I'll echo all those points, of course. Then I'll just try to. I got a couple, so I'll just try to bullet point them real quick.
Yeah.
One, relationships. Huge in this industry. So be nice. Show up on time. Know your
Yes.
stuff and be nice to people. Even the crew. Don't think because you're talent. You know, you can treat people. No, man.
Exactly.
Everybody knows everybody in this industry. Those relationships are crucial. Another one. Dang it, I lost my and this is gonna sound weird, and I don't mean it to sound negative. If you can see yourself doing anything else in this world than being happy, do that.
Yes.
Because this business is hard. If you're getting in it for fame, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
You'll never be happy.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Listen, I'm not saying don't do it. If you love it, by all means, please pursue it. But just don't expect it to happen overnight, because that's usually not how it goes.
Yeah.
And I forgot the last one, but yeah, so all great
Why don't
points.
you tell them real quick where they can see the movie, the websites, Instagram, stuff like that?
The website, first and foremost, www.2050movie.com. That's 2050movie.com. That has all the dates and everything. But it's coming up very soon in Baltimore, Nashville,
LA first.
LA's first.
And the
Houston.
New York run, I think, is coming up this
New
week.
York also.
Right?
Is it this week? Oh.
Yes, the 22nd.
Okay.
In
Right here in
SVA,
New York.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
No, it's not SVA.
It's not.
It's a
Oh,
different
right.
theater.
Well, they can find it on the website. This probably won't air until after
www.2050movie.com.
this week anyway.
Yeah.
All right, and where can they find you guys, and what's in store for each of you, real quick?
Go ahead. Real quick.
DJShae.com, SHAE. You can find whatever's happening with me there, Instagram, and yeah, that's it.
Nice.
I'm working on a little series called Little Cupid. It's coming up. We're filming now. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Yay,
God,
good
I
luck
can't
with
wait to
that,
see
babe.
Fantastic. My band has a show this weekend in Long Branch, New Jersey, if anybody's around. But
your
also,
band?
yeah, I
We
sing
didn't
in a
touch
band.
on
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. But my
I'm
name
in
is.
the music industry
That's
too.
right.
I
So there
know.
you go.
You're checking
Yeah.
music right now.
Absolutely.
And this
But,
one can dance around for us.
There you go.
I'll take my clothes off for you.
Naked, exactly.
But my name is Chris Riquinha, and long story behind that name, but it's like I'm the only Chris Riquinha. I promise. Google it. There I am.
Really?
So
You don't even need to get a
Instagram-
trademark.
Yeah,
Right on.
exactly.
Awesome.
So Instagram, Facebook,
Nice.
YouTube, all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
make sure you guys go see 2050
Yes.
film. It's awesome. I saw it. I loved it. And these guys were great in it. Thank you again so much for being here. The cast of 2050,
you.
guys. This is awesome. So again, wish you all much luck and success with your careers. I'm sure there's a
Likewise.
lot of awesome things in store, and I can't wait to see where each of you guys continue to flourish.
Thank you very
And
much.
again, you guys are watching Tools for Talent on TFT TV. I'm your host, Cheryl Martinez. See you next time. Bye-bye.
What is it that you feel when you hear this sound? It's like my body's on.
That's the place.
And what is this?
It's a manufacturing parlor.
Sex bots.
They're programmed to know what you want, exactly what's expected of them.
What are you looking for?
I'm Michael. I'm Sophia.
No, I know you're not real. Because if you're real, then I'm cheating on my wife.
How could falling in love be a bad thing? You make someone smile. That is your potential.
So who is she? The woman you're seeing.
You're letting me win.
You like to win.
No, it's torture. I'm smiling because you fell in love with one of my machines. You're welcome.
Tell me, what is it that the music says when it speaks to you? It got me going so good, so good. I can't explain this feeling. My body's revealing all my thoughts inside.
Hey guys, it's your host, Cheryl Martinez. Thank you so much for watching the show. Tools for Talent is all about giving back. We want to share tools, tips, and advice for aspiring talent worldwide. If you're looking to break into the industry and you don't know where to get started, come to toolsfortalent.com and we will help you every step of the way. So right now, TFT TV is the platform where we feature all different types of celebrities, from industry veterans to social media stars, who want to share their story and provide tools, tips, and advice to help you guys build your careers and to not have to struggle as much along the way. So that's the point of the show, and I hope you guys love it. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/toolsfortalent, and I hope you enjoy the show.